want to welcome everybody today on behalf of the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce and its affiliates, the Gratiot Avenue Chamber of Commerce, the Warren Centerline Chamber of Commerce, and the newly baptized Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce. But I'd like to introduce here this morning, very first thing, Mayor Calandrino, Mayor of the City of Utica. Mayor, welcome. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank John for inviting me today. He wanted me to say a few words about an event that they are so graciously sponsoring in Utica. It's our 5th annual Utica Puppy Parade. When I took over as mayor 5 years ago, we had just come out from under a couple very tragic cases of animal abuse. And we were looking for a way to respond to that in a positive way. And we invented the Utica Puppy Parade. And what it is we all congregate at Grant Park, which is right at Hahn and Van Dyke on the east side of Van Dyke. We close Van Dyke for a few minutes, and thousands of people with their puppies all dressed up in cute costumes parade down Hahn to our Pioneer Park dog park. Well, this event started as kind of a grassroots, very small little gathering. Now we get thousands and thousands of attendees, which we're so happy about. Last year, John on his own came to me and said, how can we get involved? We love animals, we love pets, we want to be a part of this. So we got together, we took the event up to the next notch. John said, what can we do with the money? I said, John, it doesn't cost the city anything. It cost me $30 for a box of milk bones. So I'm not looking for money for the city. But what we want, the whole intent of this is to bring attention to the prevention of cruelty to animals. So I said, why don't we, and I believe John, we collaborated and came up with the concept, why don't we have a guest of honor that's not a person, not a politician, not a chamber director, but a dog. So it was a marvelous idea. So what we did last year is we gave a $1,000 scholarship to the animal rescue who had the most incredible story of recovery for the dog that they were sponsoring. And that was all from the Southeast Chamber, so much appreciation. So this year, we started a plan for the event, which is on April 26th, 2 p.m. in a few weeks. When John and I met, we started planning. I put out my call to the animal rescues. I had so many stories of abused animals, I couldn't just pick one. I went to John and he said, all right, we're going to give 3 scholarships. We're going to give a $1,000 scholarship, a $500 scholarship, and a $250 scholarship. So this year, we're going to have 3 special guests of honor, thanks to the generosity of the Chamber. So it's a great event. April is Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Month. We invite everyone to come out and attend it. It's a fun event. It's kind of the kickoff of spring in our region. One of the first outdoor events that you're going to find, and it's just a great day. So hopefully I see a lot of your faces. Stop me, say hi. Feel free to bring your dogs too. Kind of to coincide with that, we've got something really special to announce. I think it's probably the first public announcement. Our dear, dear friends at the Reptarium and Legacy Aquarium have some important news. What's our friend's name? Olaf. And Olaf is here too. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa and Lori. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Gus. You're amazing. And thank you for the opportunity for us to be here. After several years and a long deliberation, we've had the Reptarium in Utica for about 8 years now, and we've been working on an expansion to also add a public aquarium. We're proud to announce that after Easter, the week after Easter, we will officially be open to the public. So that'll be 7 days a week and a long time coming, and we're really excited and hope that all of you will come and visit us. Thank you so much, Gus. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Mayor. Round of applause for the mayor and his efforts. Last year was a fabulous event. If you're dog people, come on out and join us. Even if you're not, we're glad to have you for the parade that's coming up here shortly in Utica. It's a great event. It's a great event for the city. It's a great event for everybody. So if you look up at the screens, you'll see the breakout of the Chamber of Commerce. We are the Southeast Michigan Chamber, and under that banner, our affiliates are the Warren Centerline Chamber of Commerce, the Gratiot Avenue Chamber of Commerce, which is hosting this event here today. And then also, too, I'm announcing today for the very first time, we're going to be rolling out here shortly the new Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce. So look forward to that and hearing about that as things come along. And then next, I want to introduce our COO, John Long, and he's going to do a presentation here.
Okay. So I want to take a minute, if I could, to thank all of our sponsors. Our corporate sponsors really make all this possible. So Andiamo, People Driven Credit Union, Harmony Ambulance, Construct Team, Outdoor Equipment, Ascension Macomb Oakland, Callisto Priority Waste, Elite Paint, The Orchards, Stellantis, Sunnyside Medicare, HR Pro and Benepro, Santoro Services is here now, Dedicated Senior Medical Centers, Paul Janoff Farm Bureau, Heritage Vision, thank you, Mr. Barnes, 5-Star Outdoor Billboards, Highway Auto Parts, D&T Construction, Vargo Golf, yeah, there we go, Kurt Huth, Lange Embedimento PLC, Partners in Architecture. Yep. We've got some new corporate sponsors too. J&A Exterior, Dallo Insurance Group, Benson's Medical Equipment and Supplies, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and Asset Preservation of Michigan. So please give our corporate sponsors a round of applause. And we have some event sponsors that help make this possible today too. So we have Reum Insurance Advisors, In Health Plans, Rick Young Insurance Services, Life Secure, Burbar Construction, Q5 Experience, and there we go, and Joe Ballard Towing. So I just wanted to say, we obviously had a lot of success, and John had pointed that out, but part of the success has very much been we're able to get everybody here. We keep the cost really, really affordable, as in free, and we are not able to do that without our sponsors. So I want to give you guys a huge, huge thank you from the Chamber for allowing us to continue to grow the business here. And if anyone else is interested in sponsorships, we do have a lot of sponsorships available. So please do your part if you can, guys, to keep this thing moving. And then just kind of wrapping this up here, we have new members. So we always try to give our new members a little bit of love. If you look at the screen, these are our new members that we have just here recently in the past couple of months. So if Scotty, you can scroll through those, give everybody a little bit of time to take a look-see. I want to thank you guys for coming out. I'm really looking forward to hear what Paul has to say, and I'll bring John back up here. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, John. So the next portion of the program, I mentioned earlier on that we had raised $650,000 for local community groups, and so too many to name all through the years, but almost always local community groups. And Scott, if you'll kind of just move through the slides systematically so everybody can get a sense at least of what it is and who it is that we've been supporting here locally in the community. And I think this really speaks to one of our strong suits of the Chamber. That would be business, politics, local elected officials, and community. And so these are some of the folks that you would recognize that we have been supporting through the years. And then we've been talking for a long time now about the men's shelter in Mount Clemens with McRest. So 3 years ago, this coming month, this chamber took the leadership role on raising $1.6 million to build the Women and Children Shelter in Mount Clemens. And it took a whole lot longer than I ever believed it was. I remember we had a church meeting with our congregations, and I predicted at that meeting, a year from now, when I see you all, we'll be opening the Women and Children Shelter. Well, it was 4 years later, so it takes a long time to raise this money and put this together. But we opened the Women and Children Shelter on Palm Sunday here 3 years ago. We house 55 women and children there every evening. And by the way, I want to give you the implication that this chamber was the only supporter of that cause. There were a number of foundations, community groups, congregations that helped with the building of the Women and Children Shelter. So we've been talking about a men's shelter for some time, and what's happened in the community, we've been the McRest, which has been the Macomb County Rotating Emergency Shelter Team, and that has kind of gone away. And by virtue of COVID came along, we were rotating through the churches, everybody stopped. We ended up then putting all our women and children and men in hotels and motels, and then finally COVID's over, we come back, and there isn't the congregations there like there was in the past to be supportive of that. So we thought, well, the solution is build a Women and Children Shelter, which we did, and now we're embarking on the men's shelter. So you see a slide in front of you that shows the men's shelter, and this is phase one of that, and it shows the layout. And so we're hopeful, you know, and I'm not very good at predicting, but based on what I told you earlier, but we're hopeful that about 3 months from now, or the next time we see you here by summer or fall, the new men's shelter will be open. It'll be downsized a little bit from our long-term approach and goal, but it'll be the beginning. You see the layout there now. We'll be able to house 24 men there in that shelter on a permanent basis. And for those of you that aren't familiar with McRest, know that we're not just a cot for a night and a meal and send you on your way, but we provide a lot of other services in terms of job training, support, finding permanent housing, counseling, and the like. So thank you all for your support. And then next, we're going to bring up Claire Imbranoni. Claire is actually the founder of the Women's Business Alliance.
Thank you, John. So we had our event on Valentine's Day, and like he said, everybody was a little nervous that people weren't going to come out because, let's face it, if you're in a couple or whatever, you're probably doing your thing. Fortunately, we had just over 200 people there, and it was a great success. So thank you to everybody that did come out. It worked out well. We were nervous. It was our first big event. So I appreciate everybody that came and your support for Turning Point, because that's really what it was all about. So thank you. And then,
well, I can't say enough about what Claire and Kayla have done for us, because the fact of the matter is each of them are a stick of dynamite, right? And I told somebody this earlier, putting them together is like an atom bomb party. They did an awesome, awesome event that night, and I would encourage you in the future, if you hear that Claire and Kayla are putting together an event, you attend. But we can't thank them enough, because we know how hard it is putting an event like this together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Denise Figursky. I am the Development Director at Turning Point and a proud member of a team who has been in existence for 45 years, helping to empower survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, and human trafficking. The event that Claire and Kayla Joy pulled off was phenomenal. I know it was really a challenge for them. Good events always look easy from the outside, but when you're on the inside making it happen, you wonder what the heck you were doing. But they did a fabulous job. Everyone had a great time. Even though she may cringe when I say this, we look forward to her doing it again. But we are very, very grateful that you were thinking about us, thinking about the survivors that we serve.
And so as a result of that event, Claire is going to present a check today to Turning Point from that event for $20,000. Yeah.
My name is Shane. For those of the people that don't know me, I'm the founder and executive director of New Way Works. We work with kids and we help break barriers so that they can be successful. We have some of our board members here today that are alongside of us. So we have Kristen Shaoni of Flagstar Bank. We have Brandon Young of Security Safety Ops Specialists. Well, we're just really grateful for our community partners like Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union. They're one of our champions of change makers. There's some other organizations that are also community partners and champions of change makers in this room. So we're extremely grateful for each and every one of you. 100% of these funds are going to go to kids that are inner city youth. They're going to work on academic tutoring to make sure that these kids are academically eligible to compete in sports. One of the kids in our program, his name is Jordan McDaniel. He's the #1 point guard in the country. He's out of the Detroit area. And we work with kids in Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne County. So Mount Clemens to Pontiac to Detroit at 7 Mile and Ryan.
Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Damron. I'm the branch manager at Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union right here at Hall Road in 94. I've been with the organization about 12 years, and Year of Giving Back is something we started years ago, picking a local organization to give money back to. That way we can further in our community footprint and really make a difference in our community. Starting to open 22 branches right now, and every branch individually picks the organization that they do want to give back to.
Well, thank you so much. Kristen, do you want to say a couple of words as a board member?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the support over the years, even if it's just simply liking, commenting, and sharing our posts for the fundraisers and everything we do. We do thank and welcome all matches as well. Thank you.
And next, I'd like to call up one of the representatives from Santoro Services. I'm not sure who's coming. Is it Dewey? Are you coming up? Very good. Come on up. So Santoro Services is a business right here in Chesterfield Township. They're recently a member of the chamber, and they would come to us and myself and John and said, you know, we'd like to help out the local community. How could we help? I happen to be having a meeting one day with Kathy Elliott, who's the treasurer here, and I know she's involved with Evident Church. And is Pastor Josh Hostler here today? Oh, very good. There you are. Welcome. So this is the pastor from Evident Church, and so I talked with Kathy, and I said, you know, is there anything we could help you with right now? And she said, well, we have a food pantry, and we're struggling, and we could use a helping hand. So I talked to Dewey from Santoro, and they decided to help out and make a contribution to the food pantry here in Chesterfield Township. Dewey and his compadres are, you know, some young guys in business doing really great work. Congratulations to you. Thanks for stepping up and saying, I want to help out in the community and make a difference. And so you have a presentation here today to Evident Church. If you want to grab that. Yeah. So for the food pantry for Evident Church, Pastor, $1,000. Would you like to say something, Dewey?
So like John touched on with the food pantry struggling, us being a new business, although 10 years old might not be that old to some, we know what it's like to struggle. And as a new member in the chamber, the one thing that's really impressed us is John and John's ability to bring together public and private to make the community a little bit tighter. In this case, we do a lot of public work, so to donate in the community we do a lot of work in, happy to do so. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dewey. Thank you, Santoro. Thank you, Pastor. Very good. We have one more item of business today, and I'd like to call up two really great public servants, longtime friends of mine, and that would be Flo Heyman from the city of New Baltimore. Flo, you're here, so if you would come up. And Mayor Simone, if you'd like to join her, and anybody else from the city, and Harvey Curley from East Point. Yeah, so this is a surprise. So today, we've declared today Elected Official Service Award, Long Lifetime Achievement Award. And so I want to just read this. Let me just get my glasses here. And so, Certificate of Achievement, this certificate is awarded to Flo Heyman. Today, Thursday, March 27th, 2025, the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce and its affiliates, the Gratiot Avenue Chamber of Commerce, Warren Centerline Chamber of Commerce, and Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce declare this elected official Lifetime Service Recognition Day. We honor longtime New Baltimore City Council member Flo Heyman for her commitment to the residents of New Baltimore and overall the people of Macomb County. Her commitment to young people in Macomb County as a school teacher, as well as her efforts in the development of the city of New Baltimore and making it a better place to live, enhancing the quality of life for its residents, as well as her unwavering volunteer work in the community. We are all the better as a result. I love Flo, so this is hard. We are all the better as a result of her commitment, example, and leadership. We, the people of New Baltimore and Macomb County, are the better for having her in our midst.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Would you like to say a few words, Flo?
I'm overwhelmed, John. Thank you very much. And I'm very grateful to the Chamber and for everything that you do for Macomb County. Thank you.
So, next, Certificate of Achievement. This certificate is awarded to Harvey Curley. By the way, this guy and I have been friends for 40 years, probably now. So I'm so glad to be able to do this. Today, Thursday, March 27, 2025, the Southeast Michigan Chamber of Commerce and its affiliates, the Gratiot Avenue Chamber of Commerce, Warren Centerline Chamber of Commerce, and Sterling Heights Chamber of Commerce declare this elected official Lifetime Service Recognition Day. We honor longtime East Point City Councilman and former Mayor Harvey Curley for his commitment to the residents of East Point and overall the people of Macomb County. His commitment to the young people of East Point and advocating and supporting youth initiatives, as well as his efforts in the development of the city of East Point and making it a better place to live, enhancing the quality of life for its residents, as well as his unwavering volunteer work in the community with the founding of the annual cruise. We all are the better as a result of his commitment, example, and leadership. The people of East Point and Macomb County are the better for having him amongst us. Harvey. Yeah, surely. Oh, yeah, I'll hold on for you. Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I've got to hang on to something. Thank you very much. I have a question for everybody. When is John Johnson going to be recognized for the things he's done? The list of things that John has done is incredible. John lives for helping people. John knows a commitment, and he takes it on. He loves people, he loves God, and he's a guy that will come out and help you no matter what it is. So thank you for my award, but let's give John a well-deserved round of applause.
Thank you, Harvey. So I'm glad to introduce Paul Gillahan, Supervisor, Clinton Township. Paul and I have known each other for probably 35 years, I'm going to guess, all of that. Paul has been a devoted and committed public servant all through the years, including trustee of Clinton Township, county commissioner, treasurer, Clinton Township, and now supervisor, and a state representative as well at one point in time. And very skilled individual, and I admire Paul a great deal. And when this election came up and we had a chance to sit down and chat, I didn't hesitate for a moment to say that, you know, Paul Gillahan's the guy that we need to support. And but even more than his understanding of how politics works and getting things done, he's a really committed, devoted human being to our community and is all about public service. Thank you, Paul. God bless you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you very much. So want to start out first by thanking my board members that are here, Kim Meltzer, our clerk, Dan Kress, one of our trustees. So when I talked with John and said, you know, what do you want me to talk about? He's like, talk about the stuff that you talked about when we met. when I was asking for his support during the course of the campaign. Taking the reins for Clinton Township is a true honor for me. John said, talk about some of your background. So I put this together, but I'm going to do this very briefly. I grew up in Clinton Township. I raised my family in Clinton Township, graduated from Clintondale Schools. In high school, I volunteered for Congressman David Bonnier. I was hooked on public service. Worked in the state legislature for Ken DeBozart in the state Senate. Driving back and forth to Lansing, Ken, who was running for the House district, term limits had just kicked in. He said, well, your name came up. I went home, talked to my wife. I'd only been married for 5 months. I said, I want to quit my job and run for office. We're still married. Thank God, she's a saint. Served in the State House. Not good at straddling the fence. Knew I wouldn't make a good lobbyist, so ran for county commissioner. Spent 2 years, 2009 and 10, in the wake of a global economic crisis, serving as the chair of the County Board of Commissioners before we had a county executive. And the way that I know I did that job correctly is everybody was pissed at me, which means we spread the pain. Lost the race for the state Senate, went to work for Ted Wabi. Great stories working with Ted in the county treasurer's office. Bill Sowerby came to me, said, run for trustee. I said, I'm out of it. I'm done. I am home at night. Don't have to go to all these things. He talked me into it, served 6 years as treasurer, and this past year ran for the position of supervisor in the Clinton Township. So what that did is to provide me a wide-angle lens on what we face as a community. Knowing the interconnectedness of the levels of government, knowing how decisions made there all over the place impact us in our local communities. Knowing where we are in a community's life cycle. Look at where we are now, where we want to be, what we need to do to get there. And then we need to be honest with ourselves, know the challenges in order to confront them. So, growth in most urban areas has always meant up. Growth in Southeast Michigan has always meant out. We grew as these concentric rings. The river and Lake St. Clair were the natural barriers. Growth in the auto industry spurred the growth along those spokes. And we are a sprawling metropolitan region. But growth matters, and growth has a huge impact. In 1950, Detroit's population peaked at 1.8, began to decline, losing 7% of their population per year over the next 20 years, while overall the region gained 42%, up to 1.3 million people. Macomb County grew at 25.9% from 1970 to 2000. By 1995, the urban areas quadrupled in size, with the majority of the growth taking place outside the boundaries of Detroit. However, we're in a position now where Clinton Township is transitioning from being an outer ring suburb to an inner ring suburb. We're 95% developed. Our older housing stock is 70 years old. Our newer housing stock is 20 to 30 years old, and that means infrastructure costs. There's a cost for this growth in the way that we grow. The tax base follows that growth. Receiving communities have a steady stream of new dollars flowing in until they don't. It's not more people. It's the same amount of people spread over a larger area. So there's duplications of service in each municipality as population spreads over larger areas. Aging communities have older and more costly infrastructure. It's in need of maintenance, stagnant and declining revenues. Michigan's growth policies encourage spending on new development rather than repairing the existing infrastructure. So we pay twice. Repair the existing infrastructure, subsidize the development of the new infrastructure. That's what's happening. You want to look at the health of a community, you can look at three things: roads, schools, taxes. So let's take taxes first. Here is a chart. Before supervisor, I served as treasurer. This is the chart that I put out. This is an insert that goes in everybody's tax bill. And what it shows is in the summer bill, we don't keep a penny of that. That's the schools, that's the county millage rate, the community college, all of those things, distribute 100% of those dollars. Township's money comes in the winter collection, but the red is fire, blue is police, and everything we do in the township that is not general fund, or excuse me, that is not police, fire, or water and sewer, we do out of that yellow sliver and the revenue sharing dollars that we get. I'm proud of what we do with that yellow sliver. Industrial tax base matters. This is an issue of the growth. If you look at the 3 largest communities in Macomb County, Warren, Sterling Heights, Clinton Township, we're third, but we're also third in industrial tax base. Those are the 2 communities that have an industrial tax base that goes from Van Dyke to Mound Road, the entire length of their town. That's money coming in they don't have to do a thing for. We don't have that. Warren is triple us. Sterling Heights is double industrial tax base. Back to growth. If you look at municipal tax rates, so isolate just what it takes to fund the community. Take out the schools, the zoo, the DIA, the county, the community college, all of those things. Everything to the south of us is dramatically more. We're at 14.3 mils. Sterling Heights is at 16.5, but they have a roads millage and a parks and rec millage. We don't have that. Everything to the north of us is dramatically less. Receiving communities are going to be able to charge less because it's new infrastructure. It's not aging. Schools. So Clinton Township has all the parts of 5 different school districts. Chippewa Valley is the largest of them. Chippewa Valley spreads out into Macomb Township. These are the schools built in Clinton Township when they were built, and the schools in Macomb Township and when they were built. You can look at the date they were built and the size and see that that leads to extra cost. They went out and built the biggest high school building in the state of Michigan, Dakota, and they still have 2-lane roads around it, by the way. So what does that lead to? When we pay our tax bill, that summer collection, there's a debt millage. So everyone pays their state taxes for schools, 6 mils, but everybody pays a debt millage as well. These are the 5 school districts in Clinton Township. And so if you look at Fraser and L'Anse Creuse, relatively flat, increasing, but have the buildings and the infrastructure they need, they're at 7 mils. Chippewa Valley's at 8.64. Why are they higher? They're higher because of all that growth. However, what's worse than growth for schools? Declining enrollment. The people who live in the poorest areas of our community pay the highest debt millages in Clintondale and Mount Clemens. That Clintondale millage is 13, which is the state max. We don't want to see what's reflected in these pictures here of schools that are technologically advanced and can meet the needs of a growing economy and those that can't. Roads. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this because roads is the huge issue for us. We did a strategic planning initiative. We invited the community, we invited the businesses, we invited our staff in, and we said, what is the biggest thing that we're facing? Roads was number 1. So if you go to your diner or the Thanksgiving Day party, whatever you do, say, why are our roads so bad in Michigan? You're going to get a litany of answers. Some of them are going to be true. One of the first things we set out to do was separate the myth from reality. So we actually figured out how to map road funding. First of all, this next slide here is the map of Clinton Township, but townships do not have control of their roads. We do not receive any money from the state for control of roads. They are all covered under the county. So Clinton Township being in already, all of the blue that you see there are county roads. The red are, of course, our state roads, M59, M97, M3, and then the Interstate 94. We also set out to map road funding, as I said. This is the map of road funding. These are how the dollars flow. And so the reason why this was important is because knowing how the dollars flow help us compete for those dollars. So I'm not going to go through that chart, but here's what I'm going to say. This is all, and that chart is guided by a state law called Public Act 51 of 1951. It is the distribution formula for those dollars, and it has not substantially changed since 1951. So I call this slide Fun with 51. The best-selling car in 1951, the Studebaker Starlight Coupe. The interstate highway system wasn't built until 1956. The Mackinac Bridge wasn't completed until 1957. The U.S. still had 48 states. Here's my favorite one. 35% of Americans lacked complete indoor plumbing in 1951 when this formula was put together. Here's the next problem with Public Act 51. They allocate the dollars based upon the length of the road, not the width of the road. And so as a result of that, what you get when you drive up north and you're on those two-lane roads and they say, how come they're so beautiful up here and they are such a mess in southeast Michigan? It's because we get the same amount of money for 5-lane roads that they get for 2-lane roads. Then, next problem, the gas tax is taxed on the gallon. It is not taxed on the dollar value of the gas. And so there's dad's favorite car, and then here's your kid's favorite car pretty soon. 10 miles per gallon, 126 miles per gallon, subject to the law of diminishing returns. Michigan has historically underfunded its roads. I was surprised to see that Ohio wasn't bigger than us. I always thought Ohio was bigger than us, but we are bigger, have more complicated road network, and less money per capita. Here's the other problem. All of the primary roads, the county's responsible for them. So if they're not state roads, the county's responsible for those roads, and they require, because they don't get enough money because of these other problems with the formula, they require a 50 to 60% match. Cities get money from the MTF, the Michigan Transportation Fund. Townships do not. So we have to come up with a funding source for this. Here is the roads in 2018 based upon Payzer ratings, and that is the red is poor to failed. Those are the primary roads in Clinton Township on that first map in 2018. However, from 2008, these are the projects that we've done, and we've dramatically accelerated the projects that we've done on the main roads, largely because of federal infrastructure money that came in to the township from the past administration. If we would have not had those dollars, we would not have been able to accelerate the projects that we've been able to do. But then the next slide is the residential streets, and here's the problem. 2008, 2018, and 2023, notice the increase in red. So out of 202 miles of subdivision streets in Clinton Township, 121 of them are ranked poor to failed. And there's not a funding source, and the county will not do them. So here's the other problem. We're in competition for all the growth in the north. These are figures from the County Department of Roads. So the two items I highlighted here, these are the cost of the actual projects. So rehabilitate and resurface. Take a 5-lane road, mill it down, and then resurface it, repair some of the substructure. Take a 2-lane road, turn it into a 5-lane road. $3 million a mile to $9 million a mile. So when the county says we got to do a project for everybody, a mile here and a mile there is not the same. Another thing we did as we put this road process together, no more arbitrary decision making. When we decide now on roads, before there used to be a call for projects, people would get together in the township and they would say, hey, we've gotten a lot of calls on this, a lot of calls on that. Well, we're not doing that anymore. No more arbitrary decision. We're looking at a scoring system based upon what is the condition of the road, what is the traffic volume, what are the high priority safety locations, what is the underground utilities. It's now based upon the data. Here's the thing, and this is a call to action, I think, for everybody here. This slide, lobbying state government to fix that formula, but also lobbying for local roads. This is the first time in my lifetime that I have ever seen the state legislature focused in on the problem of funding local roads. However, the governor has a plan, the House Republicans have a plan, and they are based upon different funding sources. The call for all of us, if we want to address this in Macomb County, is to force them to compromise. Force them to come together and say, this is not going to be done exactly the way you want it, but it does need to get done. And so you all have to figure out where you're going to give, where you're going to come together, how you're going to make this happen to bring these dollars back home to our local communities. So those are the challenges. Here's the things we're doing to fix it. Economic redevelopment, vacant Kmart, our vacant storefronts, Amazon's killing all of us. Absolutely. Commercial districts have been hit because we don't have that strong industrial tax base. We have to focus on these commercial districts, and we have to focus on them in a way of getting them filled, and that means working with businesses, working with the chambers, working with the real estate community, working with the property owners, focusing in on these corridors to say, how do we get these vacant commercial districts filled? One of the examples, reinvigorate Gratiot downtown development. When we talk about that outgrowth from the city of Detroit, it's the half wagon wheel, right? It's the spokes. It's the Jefferson, Gratiot, Woodward, Grand River, Michigan. Gratiot is one of those signature corridors of our region, and we need to bring it up to where it needs to be on par with Woodward. And we need to ensure that the state is focused on Gratiot as well as Woodward. And I don't know about you, but I'd love to see a Gratiot cruise, because I'm a product of the 80s. I grew up in South Clinton Township, right by Gratiot. Now, sorry if you're from Roseville and you had to fund that police department back in those days, but the fact is, Gratiot's that signature corridor, and our DDA is doing great things at putting together the things that are going to improve it. Building more and better parks. And so community happens when people come together and share experiences with one another. Public spaces, parks, fishing piers, all three branches of the Clinton River flow through Clinton Township. They meet here. That means everything that all of the communities are putting in there flow through Clinton Township before they get out to Lake St. Clair. That impacts us, but it also gives us a special opportunity to develop around those waterfronts and make great things happen in terms of public spaces. Think about it. Everything on Lake St. Clair, privately owned, with the exception of Metro Beach. This is the opportunity that we have that is waterfront in Macomb County, and it's within Clinton Township. Connecting trails. We have the 16-mile road. We have the Spillway Trail. People don't want to go on a trail and then come back the same way. We need to loop them. They need to be interconnected, and it needs to be recreational opportunities. It's about creating experiences for people. Strong neighborhoods. Neighborhoods are where municipalities become community. So that's code enforcement, that's branding neighborhoods, that's lining them with trees, but not just the same trees like developers did all these years. And then, of course, emerald ash borer comes through and kills every single tree in the neighborhood. We need to spread that out, but we need to make sure that we have that amenity richness within our communities and our neighborhoods. And then one of the things we did is I was approached by a mom in Clinton Township who has a disabled kid. That child and that mom sent a letter to all the township officials. I said, let's meet. It piggybacked on things that I had done in Lansing, serving on the House Education Committee, protecting the programs for special education within the state of Michigan. And so she said, at the time I did not know what an inclusive playground was. We did the research. Macomb County is 10% of the county's population, Clinton Township is 10% of the county's population. We are 25% of the population with families that have someone with a disability in them. So we set about to build an inclusive playground in Clinton Township to make sure that we're serving all of those families. It's a park that's designed for everybody, but it's also designed to make sure that it accommodates those that need us the most. And so with that, the next slide is a little video. So I don't know if that's playing or not, but I'll just sort of talk about this process. $1 million state grant, about $300,000 in those federal infrastructure money from the township, and people who went out and raised money because they were passionate about this. And this is something, as we were competing for those grants, I'm talking to some of the biggest businesses in Clinton Township, and they said, this is exactly the kind of stuff that we need to be doing to make sure that Clinton Township can maintain our residents, maintain our vibrancy. And so we set about to do that. We are having, thank you. The ribbon on this park is going to be cut on April 4th at 12:30. Here's an invitation for all of you to be there. Last slide, and I'll close on this. What we do at the board table is not the only way that we make an impact. You'll find flyers on your table. The Chamber's been fighting for Turning Point and all of these different charities. We want to make sure that our community has a way. Not everybody's going to write a huge check, but everybody can go buy napkins and paper plates and paper towels, and they, on May 10th, can drop them off at Turning Point's Gratiot location, Secondhand Rose, or from April 9th to May 10th, come and drop them off at the township. Or Jeremy Schneid, a friend of mine who owns a business on Gratiot, is another collection site. It's a AAA office right on Gratiot. That flyer's on there. And so I want to ask you all to step up and follow the Chamber's lead and see what we can do to make sure that all mothers deserve the support that they need. John, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about Clinton Township and what we're doing to keep it vibrant.
Well, thank you all for coming out today. Appreciate seeing you in the near future.